Hey guys, how you going? My name's Kim and today I'm going to be doing a comic book review of Superman Red Son. Oh my god, this story. There's almost nothing I can fault in this story. This is hands down probably one of the best Superman stories I have ever read. I definitely give this a 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10. I loved it and I'm so glad I purchased it because I want to keep it and just reread it and reread it. The plot of this story, the concept of this story, the art of this story is just amazing, and it's a whole different side to the Superman story that you've ever read before. It is. If you want something different, this is the book to be reading. So Superman Red Son is based on an alternate reality of the Superman storyline where instead of landing in Kansas, Superman lands in the Soviet Union. So growing up in an environment with a government that's so controlling and over the top and won't let you have any freedom, they basically use Superman as an icon for justice and prosperity, but really he's just an icon of fear for the people. The Soviet Union is just using him as basically Big Brother. And that's almost what this whole book is about. Big Brother. The Soviet Union, and it gets very political, of course, but if you step aside from the politics of this, you can just see that this is really a straight storyline, very interesting look at an alternate reality of possibly Superman landing in Russia. Now, because the main Superman outfit is red, yellow, and blue, and is very American colors, they did have to change it for this book. So, because Superman is in this book, he's a Soviet Union Superman, they had to downgrade a lot of the colors of his costume. They did use the red still, but they went more for like a gray for his suit. So he looks very robotic, mechanical, pretty much just like a slave of the Soviet Union, which is really, in terms of that context, is exactly what would happen. We also have a lot of other characters in this as well. We have Batman, of course, who is still as badass as ever. He was raised in the Soviet Union as well and sports a unshaven beard and that typical sort of Russian wool hat. He really put a chink in Superman's armor in this. You can see him going head to head with Superman, and I don't want to spoil it and tell you what happens, but it's an epic story to read between these two. It really is. Such a change from seeing them in the main storylines of being really great friends to this basically being enemies and fighting each other. Obviously it's not a unheard of story because that happens a lot in other stories, but the idea in this that Superman is just, he's going down the wrong path, and you can see that. And you can see Batman, he isn't on the correct path, but he's on a path that is higher than Superman's. So it's really interesting to see all the moral bits between these two characters, especially when they're battling each other. Now, Wonder Woman in this is as annoying as ever. Of course, she throws herself at Superman, and Superman's just like, please, woman, please. You know how much I hate them together. You know how much I hate Wonder Woman throwing herself at Superman. Every comic! Seriously, get a new plot line. That's the only thing I don't like about this comic. But she gets what she deserves, so whatever. Now, Lois Lane and Lex Luthor are married in this book in America, which is, I guess, not unheard of because in a few other stories they have had that connection. And as we all know, Lois is always drawn to a man of power. But I think one of the most interesting things in this comic is the personality of Clark Kent and Superman, and seeing how he's so different growing up in a different environment, to see how his values change. We know in the main Superman story, Jonathan and Martha Kent's values of him just teaching him and letting him grow up within the nurturing environment of their farm and in Kansas. You can see just all the morals that he learns when he's there. So many values and just the goodness of him and America and everything. So you can see how growing up in this context, this cold, uncomfortable, unfree environment really creates his personality. He's very robotic. He's not super friendly. He's very cold to people on the street when he's saving them. He's cold, he's robotic, and he's not super likable either. He's just this guy who's there, and he's like RoboCop. I mean, everyone loves RoboCop, but he's sort of like a RoboCop, except people are more afraid of him. One of my all-time favorite lines, probably in any Superman comic, is in this one, and it is said by Lex Luthor, and it basically describes this comic in the one sentence. Now, Superman comes to America and basically wants to push America under the control of the Soviet Union. So Superman decides that he's going to try to contain USA. Obviously, it's a huge change from him being American in the normal comic, and he goes there set on doing everything he can to, you know, keep the peace in the whole world, and Lex Luthor is able to stop him with one handwritten note. And this note says, "Why don't you put the whole world in a bottle, Superman?" I absolutely love this line. It really sums up this comic. It does. And it's so strange that they can make Lex Luthor almost seem like a good guy. It's so weird. And I love the dynamic of that, actually, that Lex Luthor is better than Superman in terms of morals. It's just, I just love exploring this. It's really, really exciting and fun to see a different side to the Superman story. Overall, the concept is fantastic. The story is well thought out. Everything is great. The characters are so well melded in. It's just a fantastic story, a great read. If you can step away from the political side of it, then you can really enjoy this comic. You really can. I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars, and if you have not read this, who are you? And what are you doing right now? You have to read Red Sun. It is a fantastic comic, and it just needs to be read. Thank you so much for watching my video today, guys. I know a lot of people have read this comic, so I want to hear your opinions of what you thought of the overall concept, the characters, everything, because it's so good, and I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.